now we're going to welcome Nina to the stage. She is a sensitive leadership coach, master NLP coach, highly sensitive, creative visionary, guide and champion of sensitive women. Nina supports and nurtures those called to lead our world to be a healthier, more compassionate place for our children to thrive in. Through understanding and embracing their unique wiring, Nina's clients let go of everything to keep them small and invisible so that they can lead with confidence, integrity, and sensitivity. Managing overwhelm, perfectionism, and self-doubt, they feel safe to be seen, show up consistently in their chosen fields, comfortably step into higher positions, and get paid well. She's bloody magic. Get on the stage, Nina.
What's she doing here? She's not authorized to make any decisions. These were the words that I was greeted with when I was asked to attend a boardroom meeting by my boss. He was the chief technology officer of a major global investment bank. And I don't think he knew I would get such a hostile reception. But this was 20 years ago. I wasn't confident. I didn't know how to speak up for myself. And the crucial thing here, I didn't know I was a highly sensitive person. So at the time, I stuttered out an apology, turned all shades of crimson, and tried to hide for the rest of the meeting, assiduously taking lots of notes. Now, I often think back to that time, and I wonder, if I'd known I was a highly sensitive person, and I knew the role that highly sensitive people play in the world, would my time in the corporate world have been different? Might I have been able to actually make a difference to the toxic patriarchal culture that was very pervasive then? Bearing in mind, I worked in a technology department. So, you might be wondering, what is highly sensitive? What does that mean? So high sensitivity is actually a naturally occurring temperament trait. We're born with it. It's found in about 20% of the population, which is about 1 in 5, so there's definitely highly sensitive people in the room today. And it's actually found equally in men and women. So the evolutionary scientists have shown that this trait has been around forever, but it was actually a psychologist called Dr. Elaine Aron in the 1990s who called this trait highly sensitive. Now, Elaine Aron has a website with self-tests, but there is a much easier way to determine if you're highly sensitive, and I'll be sharing those with you in a minute. But there are 2 key differences that highly sensitive people have from the rest of the non-highly sensitive population. And this is our physiology. So our physiology is actually different from everybody else. We have a highly sensitive brain that is wired differently, and they've actually proven this through fMRI studies. And we have a highly responsive nervous system. So there's a picture of a canary on the screen because with our highly sensitive nervous system, we're triggered into fight, flight, or freeze more readily than others, which means we are the canaries in the coal mine. So if there's anything negative going on in our environment, it's the highly sensitive person who will respond to it before everybody else. And this is why the evolutionary scientists have shown that highly sensitive people are here for a reason. We're here to keep ourselves and the rest of the species safe. So I promised you a very quick way of determining whether you are a highly sensitive person, whether you're one of these 1 in 5. So there are 4 key characteristics that go by the acronym DOES, nice and easy to remember. There's actually 5 characteristics, but I'll tell you why later. So the first one is the depth of processing. So I talked about our highly sensitive brains being wired differently. This means we are taking in more information than non-highly sensitive people, and we are processing it more deeply all the time, which can lead to the O, overstimulation or overwhelm. And I love this graphic because it explains my head perfectly. Sometimes the thoughts in my head can get too overwhelming. The third thing is E. Now, this stands for two things. So E stands for emotional responsivity. And this just means that we genuinely feel things more than others. So this is positive things and negative things. And the E also stands for empathy. So when we're not in overstimulation and overwhelm, highly sensitive people can really pick up on what other people are thinking and feeling. And that's such an amazing trait. And finally, the S stands for sensitive to subtleties. So this just means that we can notice small things that other people tend to miss. It could be temperature, it could be bright lights, it could be scratchy labels or seams in socks. And going back to my corporate days, it would be probably why I'd sit in the boardroom meetings listening to these male managers talking about this is the project and this is when we're going to deliver it and this, X, Y, and Z. And I'd be thinking, how can they see? There's no way they're going to deliver it by the deadline. But I didn't know that I was highly sensitive. I didn't know that I was noticing things that they were missing. And so when, of course, the deadline passed and the project wasn't delivered, I kicked myself for not speaking up. Sadly, especially in the West, we tend to see sensitivity as a weakness when it's so far from the truth. But when you tell people, oh, I'm a sensitive person or I'm a highly sensitive person, they'll probably immediately imagine you as somebody who's really weak, somebody who needs to be wrapped up in cotton wool, who's fragile, and you have to walk on eggshells around them. And I'm here to tell you that that is not the case at all. Once highly sensitive people manage their overwhelm and overstimulation, and you can do that through energy management techniques, through so many different NLP techniques and other things, you can really stand in your strengths as a highly sensitive person. And a reminder of what those are. They're your incredible depth of processing, your ability to think deeply and process deeply, your empathy, your ability to see things that other people just don't see, and this ability to relate them to a big picture. So these are all things our world so desperately needs at the moment. So I've come to the realization that actually your sensitivity is your greatest leadership asset. And what I want to see in this world, my mission is to fill our world with more sensitive female leaders. And I work with sensitive female women who I want to step into positions of leadership, or if they're already there, to support them. Because we've been living in a patriarchal society and a world for many, many centuries. And we just need to bring a bit more balance into the world. We need the feminine influence, I think. And we need people who think deeply, who see things and want to speak out about them, much as we're doing here today. So the women who will make decisions that don't just serve themselves in the short term, but actually they're good for the children and our children's children and generations to come. And this is what I want to see. I want a world of sensitive female leaders. And so I've created a quiz called the Sensitive Leadership Assessment Tool. Please take a picture and maybe do that in the lunch break. And by taking this quiz, it's quick and easy. You can find out where you currently sit on the sensitive leadership scale. Let's fill our world with sensitive female leaders. I'm Nina Koo. Thank you for your time.